vegetable oil in my frying pan here, and any wide surface pan will work. Ladies and gentlemen, what we're doing today is a sort of a clean out your fridge messy rice dish. I'm not going to call it a fried rice, but you see elements of a fried rice in it. And what it is I found some leftover cabbage in the fridge. My daughter bought Thai food a couple nights ago, and she has some rice left back in the fridge there. Visited mommy and daddy on the weekend, and I have some stewed pork, some Caribbean style stewed pork. I also found some peas in the freezer, onion, tomato, some scallion, and I've got that oil there. What I'm going to do is first off start with the onion, sort of a medium heat. If you want to go higher to get a sort of a smoky flavor, you can do that. What I'm going to do for additional flavor, and you know, the stewed pork has a lot of ginger in there and tons of herbs and everything else when mommy would cook it. So I'm not too worried about flavor at this point, because I know that's going to bring a lot of flavor to the game. As you can see, it wasn't a lot of rice, yeah. So I'm going to load up on the vegetables, and this is why it was a great opportunity to finish out the cabbage. And I grew up in a home where mommy would make use of every bit of leftover. So you will see, especially now, I've started sharing more of this leftover type recipes. Black pepper, this won't be posted on CaribbeanPot.com, but you will start seeing more and more of these type of recipes on the YouTube channel here. Some salt. I'm not going to go too heavy with the salt, because I know more than likely the rice would have been cooked in salt, and of course the stewed pork as well. For a bit of heat, I got this spicy stir fry oil. Just going to drizzle some of it on, and for a bit of smokiness and a bit of flavor, some toast, well, it's not toasted, but some sesame oil. If you all recall, if you watched my videos in the past, you know I'm not the biggest fan of sesame oil, but the sesame oil, in my humble opinion, will complement the flavors of the stewed pork. So knowing those flavors are similar, why not use it? Yeah. So the other sort of flavor I want to add to there, which will complement the pork as well, is some hoisin sauce. Now, I'll show you guys hoisin sauce. I'm not affiliated with any of the brands you may see here, but I use it, so why not? Move that around a bit. I just want to sweat that down, let that go down a bit. And you would have noticed already that the cabbage, big pieces, I might as well toss the scallion in there at this point as well. Nice big pieces. And that is, I think it was about half of a small cabbage that was left back. I took out the core, so quite a bit was in the core. 3 scallions and half of a sort of a large onion that went in there. And in doing the sort of leftover series that I've been doing lately, more and more, it gives me the opportunity to show you all how you can put odds and ends to work. You know, it's with all the tariffs and everything else, you know, it's getting more and more difficult when you head to the grocery store to buy stuff, right? So why not use what we already have in the fridge? I had that peas. I just want to sweat that down as well. So that's frozen peas, by the way. I have some cherry, some grape tomato here. Quite a bit. I have a bit more than this, and I just wash them, cut them in half. But you know, if you wanted to add it now, you can. But what I find happens is sometimes you can overcook vegetables, and I hate to overcook that tomato. Then it becomes more mushy than anything else, and I really don't want it mushy. And you see how easily we're putting this together. Again, odds and ends in the fridge, leftover pork, leftover rice. I know my daughter is not going to come back and eat that rice, so I thought, why not put it to use in a dish, yeah? It's been about 3 minutes since I went in first with the cabbage there, so you see it's starting to wilt down. But I don't want to overcook it. I don't want to overcook anything here. And you know, earlier I said a nice wide pan, and you can see how the peas has made its way all the way around, touching the bottom of the pan. That's going to heat it up. At this point, I want to add the leftover stewed pork. I'm going to have to scrape it down because there's a bit of fat in there, and that fat is going to do magical things. See the bit of fat there? I'm going to get all of it. That's going to render down, sort of melt down, and help flavor the dish. And this is why I'm adding it now. And that's sesame oil along with the spicy stir fry oil that I added. Man, I'm already smelling that. That's smelling just insane. What I meant to say earlier is that by using the cabbage and everything else in here, it allows me to feed more. You know, not just me, but you, whoever else is making this, it builds up, you know what I mean? And you know, yeah, there's components of rice and cabbage and everything else, but once combined to be an iconic dish, I assure you. What I'm trying to get at is it's gonna feed a lot more people. Just gonna make a sort of hole in the center here, and I wanna add a couple of tablespoons of that hoisin sauce, just for that to warm up, and then it's going to start making its way into everything. We're almost there. We just got to go 1 or 2 more minutes and we'll add the rice. The rice has been in the fridge. Finish off with the tomato, taste it for salt, adjust if you want to put some salt in there, if you want to put a little light soy sauce in there, totally up to you. Bell pepper, if you want to put some red pepper, you know, and you know, we eat with our eyes first, so if you want to put some colorful peppers in there, you can do that as well. You have the ability here to sort of use up what you have in the fridge. You see tiny little bubbles are starting to sort of caramelize on the bottom there because there's a lot of sugar in that hoisin. So if you're diabetic, you really got to be careful with that hoisin because it can be quite sweet. I'm just going to go in. Wow. You almost lost some of that rice, boy. Look at that. Uncle Chris, your belly in your hand, you're hungry, you're going kind of huggish in the pot here. You just want to break that up. And I purposely put it over the hoisin because I wanted to take up some color. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. You see how the rice just disappeared in there. So this is why I'm not calling it a fried rice. It's more of a sort of a vegetable rice stir fry sort of business. But again, real delicious. Because it's something I do. I mean, you see, the sort of pork in there is the sort of thing that I don't usually always have, but sometimes it's chicken, sometimes it's beef, it's whatever I have. And you see how we came together there? You see that there? Looking proper. So I'm just going to turn my heat up a little bit more. I don't want it to go soggy. Just want that rice to heat through. And of course, we've got that tomato to try and make an appearance in there, yeah? Just gonna let that go. I want the bottom now. I'm not gonna stir it at all. I want the bottom to get sort of tiny bit crusty. You know, almost like a bun when you have a good chicken pilau or beef pilau or something. Just gonna move that just a little bit more. Because I want the tomato to remain with that, you know, this little burst of flavor and tomato goodness. Think south, man. Just gonna hit one little toss because I wanna make sure all those flavors come together nicely. Want to make sure that rice is nice and heated through. Now, earlier I mentioned Mommy would have cooked the pork with a lot of ginger and I think she may have even put some what we call fever grass. Most of you know it as lemongrass, but if you wanted to add some fresh ginger in here, you can do that. Just want to clean up here just a tiny bit. If you wanted to add some garlic in there, you can add some garlic. And essentially, this is done. Yeah? You want to make sure it's heated all the way through. At this point, you may want to taste it. Adjust that salt to your liking. And boom, bam, look, just like that. We use all the waste not, want not is the sort of creed for 2025 because thing expensive. Dry guava season. ChrisCaribbeanPod.com. Not a fried rice, not a stir fry necessarily. We combined everything together. I'm just going to give it 2 more minutes because I want more of that crust to form on the bottom there. And I'm done. Anyways, I hope I'll get some inspiration from this. Make something nice, man.